Good day, grade 9s. I'm Mrs. Milani Lowe, and today's lesson is on the reaction of metals and non-metals with oxygen. Now, firstly, we are going to look at the reaction of metals with oxygen. Now, what happens when metals burn in oxygen? And I'm sure you have seen fireworks or pictures of fireworks. And what actually happens is that this is only metals burning in oxygen. Now, every metal has this very distinct color with which it burns in oxygen. Therefore, we have all these colorful explosions and a display of all different colors. Now, firstly, I want us to compare the combustion of metals to rusting. There are two types of reactions of metals with oxygen. Some are combustion reactions, and then others, or when the oxygen reacts with iron, it's called rusting. Now, combustion is a very fast, rapid reaction with oxygen, while rusting is a very slow, very gradual process. For combustion, we only need oxygen as a fuel, but for rusting, we need two things, both oxygen and moisture. And then during combustion, there might be a flame or sparks or a glow that you observe, not always, but in most cases. And then during rusting, you won't see any flame. There won't be any flame created. And then in combustion, energy is normally released in the form of heat and many times also in the form of light. In rusting, energy is also released, but it's such small quantities that it's not really detectable because it's such a long and slow process. And then in both cases, a metal oxide is formed, but with iron, when iron rusts, you see a reddish-brown iron oxide layer called rust that forms on the surface of the metal. Now, the first reaction that we are going to look at is the reaction of magnesium with oxygen. So let us quickly look at the two reactants that we are using, magnesium and oxygen. The symbols are Mg and O2. Magnesium is a metal, while oxygen is a non-metal. And then you must know that when a metal reacts with oxygen, it forms metal oxide, and that is a general word equation. Metal plus oxygen, arrow to indicate that there's a chemical change, form metal oxide. And then specifically magnesium plus oxygen will change into magnesium oxide. Now here I have two pictures for you to just show you what magnesium and oxygen look like. In the laboratory at school you will find magnesium in the form of magnesium ribbon. So it's a piece of metal ribbon. It's a metallic, it also has a metallic luster, magnesium ribbon, and then of course oxygen gas, which is freely available in the atmosphere as a diatomic gas. Now if you heat magnesium in a flame until it starts burning, then it will burn with this very bright white flame in oxygen. And then after the combustion has been completed, then you will see this white solid. That is the product. Magnesium oxide is a white solid, and if you touch it, it normally crumbles up to form a white powder. Now, if you take this white powder, magnesium oxide, and you dissolve it in a little bit of water in a glass beaker, and it dissolves, then you can test it with a piece of red litmus paper, and you will observe that the moment that you dip the red litmus paper into the solution, it turns blue, and that proves to us that magnesium oxide is a base. You can do the same test by using universal indicator, and the universal indicator will turn purple or violet, and that proves to us that when magnesium oxide dissolves in water, it forms a base, or it's an alkali. And therefore, this general rule is something that you need to remember. All metal oxides that dissolve in water are basic oxides. They form a base or an alkaline solution. Now, the chemical reaction, remember, you must know always the word equation, and you have to rewrite it as a chemical equation, and then finally you always have to balance the equations. Now, you have done a lesson on the balancing of equations, so I'm not going to go into the balancing here, but the word equation, magnesium plus oxygen to form magnesium oxide, the symbol for magnesium is Mg, the symbol for oxygen is O2, The arrow indicates the chemical reaction or the chemical change to form MgO. That is the correct chemical formula for magnesium oxide. Just MgO, and make sure your O, the letter O, is a capital letter. And then after you have balanced it, you must have the same number of atoms on the left as on the right. So here you can see you have 2 magnesium atoms on the left and you have 2 magnesium atoms on the right. And the same with the oxygen. You start out with 2 oxygen atoms on the left, and then also there should be 2 magnesium atoms on the right. So therefore the balanced chemical equation, you need 2 magnesium atoms, 1 oxygen molecule to form 2 magnesium oxide formula units on the right hand side. So this is then the word equation and the chemical equation for the reaction of magnesium with oxygen. Now secondly, we are going to have a look at the reaction of iron with oxygen. Now here I will have the table again. Iron, the symbol, the chemical symbol is Fe, capital letter F, small letter E, and then oxygen is a diatomic molecule, so it's O2. Iron, of course, is a metal. Oxygen is a non-metal. And then again, if a metal reacts with oxygen, then a metal oxide is formed. That is the general word equation. And then specifically, if you use iron, then iron oxide will form. Iron plus oxygen form iron oxide. Now let us look what these things look like. Now the most common form of iron is what we call steel wool that you use in the kitchen. Now there are other things also in there, but it mostly consists of iron. So these little bundles of steel wool is mainly iron, and then of course again the diatomic oxygen gas molecule. And if you heat this iron oxide, this iron in oxygen, then the steel wool will start to glow. It's not really going to burn with a flame. And then if you attach it to a string and you swing it around through the air, then you will see these bright yellow or orange sparks. So when iron reacts with oxygen, it normally forms either a glow, bright yellow glow, or it can even form sparks, but then you have to swing it or move it very fast through the oxygen so that the reaction speeds up a little bit. Now the balanced chemical equation of iron plus oxygen to form iron oxide. Now the iron oxide that we are talking about here is red iron oxide rust that forms on the layer of the iron. So it will be iron, the symbol is Fe, oxygen is O2, and the chemical formula for red iron oxide is Fe2O3. And then I've also here put a picture of the picture equation of the balanced chemical equation. So again, you can see you have to have 4 iron particles on the left hand side of the equation, and then also 1, 2, 3, 4 iron atoms on the right hand side. And here you have 2, 4, 6 oxygen particles, in other words 3 oxygen molecules, so that you have 6 oxygen atoms on the right hand side. So your balanced chemical equation is 4Fe plus 3O2 to form 2 Fe2O3. So you have 4 iron particles, 3 oxygen molecules, and then you have 2 iron oxide formula units on the right hand side. As I said, you can practice the balancing after you've watched the lesson on the balancing of chemical equations. Now the formation of rust, as we said earlier, is a slow chemical reaction, and you need 2 things, oxygen gas and moisture, for iron to rust or iron oxide to form. Rusting is a form of corrosion, that means that it's actually eating away the metal, a form of corrosion. Rust only occurs on the surface of the iron. It doesn't start from on the inside. It starts on the surface of the iron, where the oxygen and the moisture makes contact with the iron. And then steel, which mostly consists of iron, is an essential material in construction, and when it rusts, it can weaken. Now, here I have a few photographs of what rusting can do to metal. You can see this old bus body is all rusted up. A chain is going to get weakened over time if it is exposed to moisture. and oxygen because it's going to start rusting. Rusting is a form of corrosion because it eats away the metal slowly, and you can see some rusted tools. So rusting is not something that we would like to happen to any object made of iron. So how can we prevent rusting? Firstly, the first thing that we need to do is to keep moisture and oxygen away from the iron. So how can we do that? You can either paint the object, or you can cover it with a layer of oil, or you can cover the iron with a layer of chromium, and that is done through electroplating, which is a form of electrolysis, and I'm sure that you've learned about electrolysis in grade 8. You can also cover the iron with a layer of zinc, and that is called galvanizing. And when you galvanize iron by coating it with a thin layer of zinc, then it's not going to rust. So here are a few ways on how to prevent rusting. You can paint the object with a layer of oil or then paint. You can cover the iron with a layer of shiny chromium or even silver, and then your iron plates can be covered with a layer of zinc to prevent rusting. Now, the second part of today's lesson is on the reaction of non-metals with oxygen. Now, I just have one example here. Where do we use non-metals in everyday life? Now, one very interesting example is nitrous oxide, which is called laughing gas, which is used by dentists and doctors as an anesthetic. It makes you very calm. So before a dental procedure or a small medical procedure, then doctors will use something like nitrous oxide to just calm you down. Now let us look at the reaction of sulfur with oxygen. Sulfur, of course, is a non-metal. Oxygen is also a non-metal. And when a non-metal and oxygen reacts, then a non-metal oxide forms. Similar to what happens to metals, metal oxides form. Here we have a non-metal oxide. But now in the naming, because the chemical formula or the chemical combination that happens here, we get sulfur plus oxygen changes into sulfur dioxide. And that was now part of the lesson on the names of compounds. So I'm not going to get into that, but remember, when sulfur reacts with oxygen, the chemical reaction forms sulfur dioxide because of the ratio of S and 2 oxygens. Now here are the pictures of sulfur. Sulfur is a yellow powder, and if it reacts with oxygen gas, which is a diatomic gas, then you will see, if you lower this, you heat it up, it starts burning, and you lower that burning sulfur powder into this jar with oxygen, then you will see this typically bluish purple flame. So that is important that you know the color of the flame with which each of these metals and non-metals burn in oxygen. And then sulfur dioxide gas is formed, and if you dissolve it in water, what happens? You can test it whether it's acidic or basic. Now, if you have the sulfur dioxide gas dissolved in water and you dip a piece of blue litmus paper into the solution, you will see that the litmus paper turns red. And that means that sulfur dioxide, which is dissolved in water, is an acid. It's acidic. Now, you can do the same test with universal indicator, and then you will see the universal indicator also turns red, indicating that the solution is acidic. So the second rule that you need to know, remember, is that when a non-metal oxide dissolved in water, it normally forms acidic, or it's acidic solutions or an acidic oxide. So non-metal oxides are acidic oxides. So that is opposite from what we observed with metals. Metal oxides are basic oxides, but non-metal oxides are acidic oxides. Now this is the word equation of sulfur plus oxygen to form sulfur dioxide. Sulfur is S, oxygen is O2, sulfur dioxide is SO2. And to balance this equation is quite easy because there's already one sulfur atom on both sides and 2 oxygen atoms on either side. So they're not really necessary to do anything, it's already balanced. Now, very similar to this is the reaction of carbon with oxygen. Carbon is a non-metal. If the non-metal reacts with oxygen, we form a non-metal oxide. And similar to a sulfur is when carbon reacts with oxygen, we get carbon dioxide. Now, I know that you are all very familiar with reactants carbon and oxygen. Carbon is what we know as charcoal or wood or even a piece of paper or cardboard. It mainly contains carbon. And if you burn it in oxygen, what do we normally see? I know that you know this. We see these reddish orange flames. So carbon burns with a reddish orange flame in oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Now here we have the word equation, carbon plus oxygen to form carbon dioxide. The balanced chemical reaction is C plus O2 to form CO2. So it's very similar to the reaction of sulfur plus oxygen. Now, the negative effects of non-metal oxides is that when coal is burnt to generate electricity in power plants, then carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide are released into the air. You can see on the picture the amount of air pollution that takes place when these gases are released in the atmosphere. Now, when these gases dissolve in the moisture in the air, then it forms what we call acid rain. And acid rain has a very negative effect on the environment. Acid rain can destroy natural habitats like forests and rivers, so plants and animals can die because of it. And then another very negative effect it has is that it damages concrete and metal structures. So it weakens the structures and it damages it. So that is the negative effects of acid rain. So learners, this is the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and please go and revise the reactions of metals and non-metals with oxygen.